Hey, good morning. We're back, baby. Well, scheduling mix-up today. Apologies for the tardiness. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I'm Dave Loughran. Let's hope I remember how to do this. I'm at Lafayette_D on Twitter. Give me a follow while you're there. Say hello to Josh Engleman at Josh Engleman on Twitter. How you doing, brother? A little 12-game action today. Running a bit late, but we're back and we're in action. Ready to go.
Yeah. I might struggle to get through this show. Voice is in a bit of trouble right now. Liverpool had a miraculous comeback yesterday, and my throat is shot.
Nice.
Yeah. Insane. Truly insane. Like one of the more insane situations they've had in my fandom.
That's pretty cool.
I was happy about it.
Notre Dame played in Ireland this past week.
They did.
They did a flyover, and some of the Irish lads were very upset about that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, with the Osprey. I don't know why.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Pretty sweet. Dude, flyovers pump me up. They are.
In my opinion, they should never. I could never see one again, and it would.
Oh, they're the best.
Never change my life.
They are the best.
Can't tell if you're serious.
Flyovers? No, I'm dead. I love flyovers. I think they're awesome.
Are you a 5-year-old?
I am. I love the military industrial complex. No, I just think they're cool.
Big Halliburton guy.
I just think they're awesome, man. I think they are awesome.
Who are you trying to convince right now? Yourself?
No, I'm telling you right now. I think they're great. By the way, you know how I know that I'm getting very old?
You like flyovers?
I would love them. You just asked if I was 5. Now you're asking if I'm. What is this like?
Well, yeah, I think they'd be also really old too.
Well, I'll give you one that'll blow your mind, all right. By the way, happy to have you guys with us. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below, too, if you guys are listening or watching it after the fact. We appreciate all you, whether you're live or checking it out later in the day. And if you're listening in podcast form or you'd like to, it's out there on every podcast platform available. Make sure to check that out, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of them. Leave a rating and a review, too. That stuff goes a long way for us, and we appreciate you. So, yeah, I was on vacation from Saturday to Saturday, Virginia Beach. Man, had like basically a private beach. The beach is so unpopular. We were in Sandbridge. Really cool. Private pool. You have to have that with kids. Otherwise, because there were 12 of us. Okay. And I'm telling you, it was a good time. Very good time. So you want to know how I'm getting old? My brother-in-law and I would wait for the kids to go to bed, go out onto the beach with like a bunch of beers and metal detectors for like 3 hours at night. I told my neighbor, a friend of mine next door, he's like, I don't think I'm old enough for that yet. Mind you, he's 10 years older than me. Let me tell you something. What an enjoyable time that is. Just sweeping the beach, getting drunk, hanging out, and finding treasure. I'm dead serious, too.
What'd you find? Quit burying the lead. How much garbage did you find buried in the sand?
I found some coins.
Did you? A lot of pennies?
Couple quarters.
I'm rich, bitch.
Good stuff. It's not about, it's not like I'm going out there needing money for it. I feel like anyone who does that.
I'm surprised you didn't find a chest of doubloons while you were there.
Anyone who does that doesn't need money because it's so time consuming that you'd be a vagrant in no time.
Anybody that does that does need friends, however, to talk them out of being metal detectors on the beach people.
No, it was so fun, man. So, a couple of people I told laughed and other people go, man, that sounds like a good time. Just out there drinking with the boys. My other brother-in-law came out with us too. Had the flashlights out. God, what a blast that was. Good stuff.
This just sounds like the second part-time job for the Uber drivers.
No, it's fun. Good stuff. Also, I am highly proficient in bodyboarding. Didn't even know. But dear God, am I good? I'm looking for some competitions coming up.
You're really the king of the beach, huh?
The sand lord over here, brother. I had it all going for me this week. I think it's the first time I've been in the ocean in 20 years.
This is a really bad Aquaman sequel.
Sick. Anyway,
he doesn't save people in the water anymore. He just looks for quarters in the sand.
I can't say I was looking for quarters. It's just happened to be what I came across. But we got 12 games to talk about today. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend as well. Man, I saw the Sims tool while I was out, had some huge wins. Our CEO, Tom Kennedy, hit for 50K. Jake Hari hit for 5K. Sean Geezy hit for another 1,000. We had Brian Berryman hit for 5K. That was all just while I was gone. So, yeah, good stuff.
Lucrative day in the Sim streets for the stochastic peeps, that's for sure. Or lucrative week or so.
All the stochastic avatars at the top of the MLB Sims. By the way, there's still, and Christopher Cotton just put in the chat before I even said it, using Sims tool now, fucking incredible. Yeah, man. Links in the description too. You guys already know. And look, you still have over a month of baseball left.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're getting no baseball. No. Still over a month of baseball left. The tool's been crushing it. If you want to get in on that, you know where to find it. And we had a scheduling mix-up. Jordan should be producing this show. Well, actually, no. It wasn't his fault. But Jordan, we thought, was producing this show. He isn't. Would have had him throw all those monster screenshots up there. But, yeah, check it out. Link in the description for the Sims. You ready to get into this? We got the tools updated, 12-game slate ready to go. And Atlanta Braves and Coors.
Couldn't be less excited to talk about this slate. Let's get into it.
Because of Atlanta?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. They have an implied total close to 8 against the lefty at Coors Field in late August. Tells you all you need to know. But that's not where we start. We'll kick it off with Michael Kopech, Grayson Rodriguez. Listen, this is one of those games that I think deserves some conversation as well, because Kopech, as we know, he's no stranger to giving up home runs.
Nope.
Baltimore has a 5.6 implied total. They have the third highest top stack probability. Now, just to put this in context, they're at 6% on a 12-game slate. Atlanta's at 25.6% on a 12-game slate, which is preposterously high. But Baltimore looks like a great offensive stack today.
Yeah, they do. This whole game is really interesting. While I'm interested in Baltimore and their top stack odds, the best thing that's in this game is Grayson Rodriguez. 7,500 is a price tag that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Grayson Rodriguez today against the White Sox. Decent enough strikeout matchup. I wouldn't go too crazy. But Grayson Rodriguez, he's got a strikeout prop out there right now, somewhere in that 5.5 to 6.5 range. Probably right around 6 strikeouts is a decent projection for him. At 7,500, that's massive. He's 41% owned at this moment. That is the high mark of anybody on today's slate. Is he a little over-owned? Yeah. Like, it's a massive slate. It's really concentrating ownership at the top. Should he be the most owned pitcher? Yeah, I think that he probably should. I don't have much of an issue with it. I only have 30% of Grayson Rodriguez. That is the most I have of anybody for right now. But if you're looking for like a cash game play, it's going to be some combination of Kevin Gausman, Brian Wu, and Grayson Rodriguez. I assume Rodriguez is the first guy you want in there. The strikeout upside is just so massive at that price tag. So give me Grayson Rodriguez before I do anything. I don't really want Michael Kopech. He is showing up in my lineups a small amount. He is not owned. I don't want to advocate for Michael Kopech. I'm just letting everybody know that if Locke were right now, I would have 12%, and I would assume that 12% of my lineups were dead.
Those bats, though, those Baltimore bats are pretty appealing in a spot like this, because you are talking about a guy that has had no shortage of power issues this season. We've seen some games where he's been blasted. Only 196 x ISO to righties, which, by the way, isn't good. It's just not terribly bad. 255 x ISO to lefties as well. So, yeah, could be a bit of an issue for him today against the team that definitely possesses some power.
Yeah, certainly some power here for Baltimore. We have them third in top stack. I had them tied for fourth, basically. So for what we're talking about, the same ranking, very highly ranked in this park against a guy that just cannot stop giving up aggressive power. And it's not even just the power. Like, he gets hit around the park more so than just the power. The ex-WOBA numbers are all really negative. I don't have a ton of Baltimore. I'm basically neutral to the field. And that's sort of a testament to just what this slate looks like. I don't have a giant stand really on anybody outside of the Atlanta Braves, and we could talk about that later on today. But if we're just trying to point out different Baltimore bats, Rutschman, Henderson, Santander, 1, 2, 3, likely going to be, if that's what the order looks like, lefty, lefty, lefty against Michael Kopech, he's in real trouble. Baltimore side looks great. Now, I've had a ton of Baltimore over the past few days. That has not been all that lucrative for me. I assume today is the day where I should have had a lot of Baltimore. I don't, and they smash Michael Kopech.
Any interest in White Sox bats against Rodriguez, just given the ownership?
They're so cheap that would be the appeal. Like, their top stack odds are horrid, but outside of Lubob at 5,500, the most expensive guy in their projected lineup right now is $3,800 Eloy Jimenez. These guys are ultra easy to roster. Tim Anderson, to me, in the leadoff spot, probably my preferred White Sox, just because you're getting a $3,200 shortstop on the road. You're potentially looking at a lot of plate appearances. The White Sox get that little bit of a benefit of having all of that Grayson Rodriguez ownership on the opposite side. I'm not super interested in Chicago, but they at least have the park works. The ownership to Grayson Rodriguez works. They have the features of the type of team that you would want to like zag with in a 150 max.
I think this next game is relatively easy to break down. Josiah Gray, Kevin Gausman, Washington and Toronto. Kevin Gausman, you're going to play him. Fantastic spot. Granted, the strikeout upside may be somewhat limited here, but he's got great strikeout stuff. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. 23% top 2 pitcher probability in the top pitchers tool. Yes, he does have negative leverage, but usually guys at this high ownership do. We've got him at 38%. And then Josiah Gray on the other side, look, 19.9, sub 20% strikeout rate. He doesn't give up crazy power to either side. 181 x ISO to lefties, 165 to righties. So, not great, not terrible. But it feels more so like, especially going up against a good Toronto offense, that it's Kevin Gausman and then some Toronto bats.
Yeah, I got to go to Gausman, second most owned guy behind Grayson Rodriguez, the clear top projected pitcher today, at least for me. He's 11,200 on DraftKings, so that's $400 more than Blake Snell, who's second in price. But I've got Gausman by a lot from a fantasy point perspective. Not the best strikeout matchup against the Nats. That doesn't really matter. Strikeout prop for Gausman across the industry is set at somewhere around 6.5, maybe a little bit juiced to the over. I got him at 6.8. So I don't have much else to say. He's 38% owned, and he should be. He is the best option you can get at the top end. I'm a little bit lighter than the field is right now, but that's not an indictment on Kevin Gausman. But clearly, if you're looking for one pitcher, Kevin Gausman at the top of the heap is projected and priced correctly.
What's your interest in bats? I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on Washington, but Toronto looks okay.
Yeah, don't play the Nats. Toronto's totally fine. Josiah Gray, not a guy that I typically worry about all that much. I kind of stack against him a lot, but he doesn't get that bombed. 180 x ISO to lefties, 160 to righties. I think Toronto's okay. They're 9th in top stack, 17th in top value. They're 5th in ownership, but that's so deceptive. They're 6% owned. Brandon Belt's 11. Dalton Varsho's 11. It's a lot of single digits everywhere else. There's not a ton of volume coming into Toronto. So if that's the team you like, that's fine. I'm dead neutral. We have 5.8% aggregate ownership to the Toronto bats. I have 5.8% ownership to the Toronto bats. I am dead equal to this team right now. If you like them against Gray, go for it. The run total is fantastic. Park's good enough for power, although it does limit lefties a little bit. I think Kevin Gausman is the clear best option you can get in this game.
Let's talk about this Houston and Boston game. Christian Javier, Chris Sale, 10-run total. Yep. 10-run total in this one. Houston, slight dogs on the road. When you're looking at price points, Javier has come down to a somewhat more manageable level. But even at that price point, even at 8,500, there's nothing exciting about him there, particularly going up against Boston in a game where both teams have relatively high implied totals. And then Chris Sale against Houston, 9,500, getting around 2% ownership. Both teams have totals north of 5 today. This doesn't feel like a game where you want to get to a lot of pitching, especially given that neither of these guys are giving you great value as far as salary goes.
No, I don't really want either pitcher. If I'm going to either one of them, it's probably Javier just because he's $1,000 cheaper, but I don't really want to go to either guy. I don't think Chris Sale's going deep enough into this game. His strikeout prop is sitting like around 5.5. I don't find that to be all that appealing. Lefty bats against Chris Sale have hit him pretty hard in the 161 pitches he's thrown so far this season. Christian Javier has gotten tuned up by both sides of the plate, lefties and righties. 194 X ISO to lefties with no strikeouts, 266 X ISO to righties with a ton of strikeouts. This is a game for hitting, and which side of the game you prefer will be interesting. We have the Astros 22nd of 24 teams today in ownership. Should you be getting to a lot of Houston against Chris Sale? Probably not, but there's a lot of raw power and talent in this Astros lineup. I have 8 5-man stacks of the Astros. I have 4% of them for today. I think the Astros are sneaky in this spot against Sale, but there's not a lot of benefit to wanting to go against Chris Sale because he's not getting any ownership. Similarly, on the Boston side, this is my number 2 stack. I have 14 5-man stacks of the Red Sox for today. I'm 2x the field. We're only showing them as 4% owned. Now, a lot of my ownership is coming into Devers. He's 5,600, third base eligible. He's 9% owned. He's the clear best bat for Boston. That's the guy that I want to get to the most. But righties do hit Christian Javier for massive power. So whether that's Justin Turner, Trevor Story, Pablo Reyes doesn't have that kind of pop, but certainly looks a little bit more interesting in this matchup. I like the bats. I'm getting to more of Boston, but I'm happy to get to Houston as well.
Yeah, the Boston spot is really intriguing. Javier has a 21% strikeout rate, 25% ground ball rate this season, north of 1.5 home runs per 9 allowed to righties.
Yeah.
Like you said, he does strike them out at a higher clip, 29%, much lower than he did in previous seasons, though. This is a spot where Boston could get it. I mean, could be a really, really interesting stack. Where are they at in ownership? You said they're Boston?
Boston's 12th.
Yeah. With a 5.4 run implied total, too.
Yeah. It's 4% aggregate ownership.
It's low.
Yeah, that's just
in Boston.
Even if they were higher owned, like when I mentioned the Blue Jays are 5th. It's 5.8% aggregate ownership. It's just like, that's just not a big number. The rank like throws you off a little bit if you only look at it.
John Gray, Tyler McGill, Texas Rangers, New York Mets, 9-run total in this one. We can talk a little bit about pitching here. John Gray is getting 9%. He's 9.6% top two pitcher in the top pitchers tool. So looking like he's pretty much where he should be. McGill's about 6.7% owned because sub 6K. It's clearly not a matchup thing. This is just a very discounted price point. 4% top 2 pitcher probability. So still actually negative leverage despite only 6% ownership. Are you excited about either of these guys, whether it be price point, matchup, ownership, or are they pretty much where they should be? McGill might be a little over-owned, honestly.
I think they're both where they should be. I have about 10% of John Gray. That's what he's owned. He's 10% top 2 pitcher in the top 2 pitcher tool. As we look at John Gray, he's got a pretty heavily shaded to the under 5.5 strikeout prop. I got him projected for 4.6. All that looks good. I've got 13% John Gray. I think he should be owned somewhere in the 10% range. I don't mind it. I actually do have a little bit of Tyler McGill. I really, really don't like that. That dude is not good at all. 199 X ISO to lefties, 213 to righties with a 15% K rate. I think he's in for a world of hurt. That said, he is 5,800. I have 13%. He is 7% owned. I have 13% of John Gray. I have the exact same amount of both of these guys. But without question, John Gray is the one I would rather have.
All right, so just looking at our top stack probabilities here, there's one team above everyone else, and then it's flat for like 5 or 6 teams.
Yeah.
We have New York at the bottom, just in the cellar right now.
Yeah.
And then we have Texas around 5.5%, which is what I said, 5 or 6 teams with, pretty similar top stack probabilities. They're one of them, along with San Diego, Baltimore, Houston, those teams. Is this a Texas team that we should be looking to target today?
It's not a team that I'm targeting, but on paper, it seems like it's a team that you should be targeting. The only thing that's really slowing down Texas is price at the top. They're 22nd in top value. So 6,100 for Semien, 6,700 for Corey Seager, 5,800 for Adolis Garcia. There's some pretty healthy price tags here for Texas, but they also get Tyler McGill on the opposite side, and he sucks. So maybe the park can help him a little bit. 4.5% aggregate ownership to Texas. I do think that you should get there a little bit. They just don't happen to be the team that I am getting to, but the top of the order has some real power.
And then the Mets, I don't really think, this is not a Mets stack right now that looks even remotely appealing.
No, I have 0.3% ownership to the Mets. It looks like 3 lineups of Francisco Lindor and 1 lineup of Francisco Alvarez. So it appears the only way that I can get to a Met is if your first name is Francisco. So unless they're running out 9 Franciscos, I'm probably not going to have a lot here. Nor should you. Yeah, I don't know what the appeal would be to the Mets. That's for sure.
No. We always talk about like the first match deposit bonus for a lot of these pick'em sites, which are fantastic sign-up offers. But a lot of people, like myself, I could play best ball and I can't play pick'em on a lot of these sites because I'm in Pennsylvania. You get the first match deposit bonus, 100% up to $100. Caesars, dude, if you are not getting on every sports book around football season, you are objectively doing it wrong. I've been telling you guys for months now that hold out on some of these, especially if you're not betting baseball heavily. Wait till the season starts to get closer, and they're going to rain down bonus offers on everybody and give you a lot of free money. They know this, dude. Listen, this is their bread and butter too, right? This is where they make NFL football. American football is the most heavily bet sport in our country, hands down, not even close. Caesars never does these type of sign-up bonuses. I didn't get this one. I got the risk-free bet up to $12.50. Bet $50, get $250. Bet 50, get $250 after you bet $250. I mentioned the first match deposit bonus of $100, Josh, because 100% up to $100 is great. This is $50, and you're getting $250 out of it. It's a phenomenal offer. You take $50, put it wherever you want. Link is in the description and in chat if you actually want to take advantage of this, or just in the description. I don't know if Josh can throw that in the chat. I think Jordan had that link. So just
I don't have that. I don't have that.
Look in the description. It's right there. Click it. Takes a minute to sign up on these sites. Deposit, even if you only deposit $50. That's probably the play. Yeah. Deposit 50, bet that 50, get $250 like that. I don't know what to tell you, man. If someone came up to you on the streets, Josh, maybe you're the wrong person to ask, but anybody else who's in their right mind and has, a scintilla of sanity left and said, hey, give me $50 and I will hand you $250. You'd think it was strange, if he was slovenly presented and you thought, well, he's just going to rob me. But then you go, well, the upside's there. I'll give you 50. And then he hands you 250. You walk away and you said, man, I made out great. That's exactly what it is here, except there's no slovenly looking character on the street trying to burn you for your money. Caesars is a well-established business. And you bet that 50, you're getting $250. There aren't many other places where you can do that. Just get $250 for 50. Take advantage of it. Link in the description if you haven't done so yet. Caesars promo. This won't last long. They never do over there. This is one of the few times I've ever seen them actually do a good bonus, Josh.
It's great. 50 gets you $250, trickles out $50 a week across the next 4 weeks, plus 50 instantly. It's great.
I think that's a good thing, by the way.
So do I. Especially heading into the football season. It's just like, all right, at least I know I have $50 in bonus bets coming for weeks 1 and 2 or whatever it is.
Yeah. 5 straight weeks. Not bad.
Yeah.
Check it out. If you're not on Caesars yet, here's the time to get all of your money on these books. not during baseball season. While they do have some good ones, usually football season is what pops it off. And of course, must be 18 years older to gambler, 18 plus to gambler. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. I haven't done that in a while.
No, I messed up, man. I wanted to go hit the head while you did that read, and I forgot to get up.
Oh, you screwed up.
I did.
All
Tip
right.
me off on your next read so I can turn my camera off and duck out of here.
I got you. Red Skittles, just because you don't know the words I'm saying doesn't mean I'm saying them just to say them. All right. Cleveland at Minnesota. Xavier Curry. Kenta Maeda. 8.5 run total in this game. Cleveland plus 142 on the money line. Do you have interest in Kenta Maeda here? Because on one hand, you go, hey, solid matchup against Cleveland in the sense that they're not particularly good, but also lowest strikeout rate in the league. We've talked about this so often. So it's kind of a balancing act here. Kenta Maeda 13% owned, $9,200 today, though. Is this a spot where you just kind of come in around the field on him, or do you take a big stand one way or another?
I don't really have him, but I think he should be like around 10 to 15% owned. The strikeout prop is highly juiced to under 5.5 because this is just such a bad matchup against Cleveland for strikeout purposes. That is, that could change. Like if Steven Kwan is somehow not hitting leadoff, if they give Jose Ramirez the day off, it changes this outlook dramatically. But for right now, 9,200, I think he's properly owned at 13%, maybe a tad too high. Kenta Maeda should be around 10 just because of general talent. Xavier Curry on the opposite side, 1% owned. He should be 1% owned because of his talent.
He should be, without question. Wait till we get to the pitch. Wait till we get to some pitching in these upcoming games. It gets even worse, honestly. But aside from that, in this game, the hitting against Kenta Maeda, I don't really see much interest in Cleveland. No. They're pulling a top stack probability right now of 2.2%. They do look good in the value column in the top stacks tool. 10% top value. That's second behind only the Pittsburgh Pirates. I get that. Getting some ownership because they're cheap, not because it's a particularly good matchup, right? And then Minnesota against Curry, 3% top stack probability. They're sitting right, around 10 or 11, 6% ownership. No real leverage on one side or the other. Stack score in the middle of the pack. What do you do with bats here?
So for Cleveland, you only go here for value or just for Jose Ramirez on his own. He's 5,500. Next most expensive guy in the projected lineup is $3,600, Steven Kwan. So there's a reason they're second in value. I don't find them to be particularly interesting. Excuse me. But this is a team where you can very easily afford them and get to mini stacks or even a full stack and pay up elsewhere. Minnesota is sort of like the meeting in the middle of Cleveland. They are also incredibly cheap. The projected lineup that I have right now, $4,500 Jorge Polanco is the most expensive guy in the lineup. That's crazy. No one above 5K. So this is an outstanding value for Minnesota. They just happen to have a slightly higher top stack score because they don't face Kenta Maeda. They face Xavier Curry. So I like the idea of getting to Minnesota. I have 7% aggregate ownership to the Twins. I have 12 5-man stacks. I'm mostly neutral to everybody. A little bit bigger of a stand on Max Kepler at 3,600. I think he does stand out as a really nice way to try to buy a home run today. But if you're going to either one of these sides, it's certainly the Minnesota side, along with Maeda. It's just a better side of the game. All things Minnesota here.
What about this San Diego Padres and St. Louis game? By the way, almost at 50 likes. Thank you, guys. I know we're coming back from the weekend. Some of you may be tired. Understandable, but take a second if you haven't yet. Hit that thumbs up. Goes a long way. Now we got 5 more to 50. All right. Blake Snell, Adam Wainwright. We could start and end with Blake Snell, essentially. We don't need to get into Adam Wainwright. It's shocking that you're going to Adam Wainwright today?
Okay. Like we gotta I have more Adam Wainwright than I have Blake Snell, but that doesn't mean I like him more.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, I have 11% Wainwright, 8% Snell.
I mean, I understand that he's cheap, but I mean, the ceiling on Wainwright right now is just barely out of the negatives.
Rostering him makes me want to hang from the ceiling.
Hey, you
see his strikeout prop?
Well, let me guess. Let me guess.
Okay.
Against San Diego, I don't want to say 2.5. If it's 2.5, the over has to be juiced heavy. If it's 3.5, the under has to be juiced heavy.
At Penny, 3.5 minus 158, minus 145, minus 155, depending on which site you're looking at. So yeah, 3.5 minus.
Wait, am I right though? The under's heavy juice on. Yeah, okay, 3.5. Yeah. Right.
I got him projected for 3 strikeouts.
Right. Makes sense.
Look, he's not good. He's just 5K. That's if you're looking for the reason why I have Adam Wainwright in lineups, he's $5,000. That's it. I don't have anything else to add. It's a terrible matchup. He sucks. In no way do I feel comfortable about it. In no way do I want it. All of it is negative. All of it.
You know what his swinging strike rate is this year? Oh my God.
0?
4.8%.
Yeah. Those are guys that just like slipped while they swung or something. Bat flew out of their hands.
Yeah. Saw a family member in the stands, took their eye off
sneezed.
The ball. Big yawn.
Yeah.
1.8 home runs per night. I don't even want to get it. I'm not even going to waste our time talking about the metrics for Adam Wainwright. No. It's actually not worthwhile. Anyone that's been playing MLB even a little bit or following it, even as a casual this year, knows that Adam Wainwright has, he's arguably been the worst pitcher in baseball who is, essentially started and is going to finish the season.
Let's look that up, actually. Pitching. Let's go starting pitching. Who's been the biggest negative wins above replacement guy?
Wait, but what are we qualifying here? Like there has to be you have to qualify something.
Well, this is qualified for,
okay.
Like if you wanted to qualify for rate stats.
Gotcha.
Only one starting pitcher that's qualified in innings pitched is negative WAR this year. That would be Jordan Lyles. I'm guessing Waino doesn't have enough innings because he's not even on the first page.
Well, that is weird.
Only 54 pitchers have reached the amount of innings that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and set my own cutoff. Where are you hiding, Waino? How many innings have you thrown?
How many innings has he thrown? He's thrown 77.
Okay. So I'm going to set the line at 75 or 70.
He's made 17 starts. I forgot he was out a while.
Okay. So if you just use 70 innings for starting pitchers, he has the 6th worst wins above replacement this year.
Okay, who's worse?
Okay. You will not be surprised by any of these names. Anybody all right off the top of your head you want to just toss out there?
Anybody from Oakland?
Yes.
Anyone from Colorado?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Are there 2 from Oakland by any chance?
No.
All right. Oh, wait, are these all starters?
Yes.
Okay.
And they've all made at least 15 starts. I'll give you the teams. How's that?
Go ahead.
Toronto.
Or just tell me.
Okay. Toronto, Alek Manoah.
That one I would have had.
Noah Syndergaard.
See, I wouldn't have guessed it. If you gave me the team, I might have, but
Ken Waldichuk. There's your Oakland representative.
Would have got that one, yeah.
Luis Severino is second.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, Severino.
And finally, the number 1 worst starter that has pitched as many innings as Adam Wainwright is the first guy we talked about today, Michael Kopech.
Really? He's the worst.
Negative 0.8 wins above replacement this year. He's got a 6.52 FIP, a 35% ground ball rate, 9 Ks per 9, and 6 walks per 9.
Wow.
Yeah. They are the worst.
Well, he's around it. He's hovering. He's in the neighborhood. Put it that way.
That said, I have 11% Adam Wainwright.
And you have very little Blake Snell?
I have 8% Blake Snell. Now, do I think that he is maybe slightly under-owned? Yeah, 12%. He just happens to be 10,800. And the Cardinals aren't really like the best matchup in the world for him. 4.1 run implied total. Park helps. Lefty power dies in St. Louis.
Their active roster has the lowest strikeout rate versus lefties on the season, actually.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little bit problematic. It's a great park for Snell. He should be in good shape in terms of
that was
not
wrong.
getting
that was wrong.
up. Okay,
sorry,
never mind.
That was wrong. I was looking just to correct myself. Go ahead.
We'll get rid of that piece. I wish I had a little bit more Snell, if I'm being honest. I do think he's slightly underrepresented. I probably won't get a ton. I'm not getting to the top end of pitching aggressively. I'm paying down a little bit more. I think the Braves have a lot to do with that. But I think Snell is fine. I think that the gap in ownership between Snell and Gausman is a little spread out too much. It's 38-12 right now. And I think it should probably be like 28-14. I think you want to take a tiny bit away from Kevin Gausman and give that to Snell.
Okay. St. Louis has the 7th highest, K rate versus lefties this year.
Okay.
They've been pretty awful. Wheeler and Nola just went out there and lit them up. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. So do you really think that the discrepancy in ownership between Gausman and Snell should be as big as it is, like 40-12%?
No, I thought call it 28-14.
You're saying you take some away and give it to Snell. I'm just not sure how much. Okay. I think that's reasonable. But if you're saying take that away, so you're saying put that on top of Blake Snell's 12%?
Sort of. Yeah, I think Snell is closer to properly owned, and I think Kevin Gausman is slightly over-owned.
Okay. We have Snell as a positively leveraged play today.
Yeah, so do I.
I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, this St. Louis team has been bad lately, and
it's a really good spot.
He's a good pitcher, and he's just that much lower owned than Kevin Gausman, who obviously is not facing a good Washington team, but a Washington team that doesn't strike out a ton. So, yeah, interesting spot for Blake Snell. What about the San Diego offense?
I got 12 5-man stacks. They are second in ownership. They're second in top stack. They're 8% owned, but nobody's really pulling crazy ownership. It's 12% to Tatis is the high number. So we don't have to get too crazy. I'm basically completely neutral here. While I did say that I'm getting to 11% Wainwright, I am getting to about 7% overall of the Padres. I think they look pretty good because Adam Wainwright's on the opposite side. The park limits them a little bit, but that's mostly lefty power, not righty power. They should absolutely destroy Adam Wainwright. That's what I expect to happen. So give me some Padres bats for sure. They grade out well for a reason. Cardinals bats, on the other hand, not something that I'm really looking for against Snell.
If we keep this one rolling, we've got Wade Miley, Jameson Taillon, Milwaukee, Chicago, 9-run total. All right. Wade Miley, Josh, against the Cubs in Wrigley. Do we have any win to speak of today? I assume it's nothing major given the total in this game.
Didn't look, but it doesn't seem it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. No, nothing significant.
No, blowing in, if anything.
Yeah, right to left, 8 miles per hour. All right, that works, though. Just wanted to make sure. Wade Miley.
Did you just turn your butt plug on or something? All I heard was vibrating electricity.
I got an alert on my computer that my battery was running low. I guess I forgot to plug it back in when I got back from vacation.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. It was my butt plug. Yes. What are you doing?
That seems like a more realistic answer.
What are you doing with Wade Miley and Jameson Taillon?
Very little. Jameson Taillon and Wade Miley are fitting into the Adam Wainwright bucket for me of guys that I have about 10% of that makes me sick to my stomach. 11% to Jameson Taillon, 6% to Wade Miley. These guys should be like 5-ish% owned. Neither one of them looks great. Neither one of these guys should be a priority. They both project for less than 4.5 strikeouts. These are just value pitchers that are okay on a day where you might need a little bit more value. Whether I'm getting Kopech, McGill, Kyle Muller, Adam Wainwright, there's a lot of garbage out there, and I'm kind of just getting a little bit of all of the garbage.
Okay, fair enough.
Kind of gross.
Yeah, I get it. But are you targeting bats on either side of this? I mean, it's a decent total. Neither team looks highly appealing, just given that you have a lot of games with really high run totals. We still haven't talked about Coors yet, so that's another one that's going to mix in and going to play a massive role. And then a couple other teams that are looking pretty decent that we haven't gotten to. So maybe on another slate, this one would look a lot better than it is.
Yeah, like I don't have much interest in the Cubs. They're 18th in top two stacks, 18th in ownership at 1.5%. I don't really have them. I have about 1.5% as well. Brewers are getting 4.5% ownership. That's 10th. I think they're just like a middle of the pack. I think this whole game is just the middle of the pack. If you have a little bit of Tyon, a little bit of Brewers, a little bit of Cubs, a little bit of Miley, like all of it seems fine. This is a game where like you should have up to 5% of basically everything, and none of it should look good. I'd rather this game like just get rained out or be quiet. I'm just not going to have enough.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good thing, and it doesn't get rained out, and you don't want to have it.
Right.
Very
for the record, when I say get rained out, like it is not a threat for rain. I would just prefer that it.
No, I know what you meant, and I'm saying maybe it just ends up being a bad game all around, and it doesn't matter. So
I hope.
Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Johan Oviedo, Zach Greinke. All right, what do you think? Without looking, let's take a guess on Zach Greinke strikeout prop today.
I mean, I have him projected for 2.7, so I think it's going to be low.
I was actually going to say the under slightly juiced on 2.5, but I was wrong. It's 2.5. The under's at even money, but like I knew it would be 2.5. You can't put a Greinke strikeout prop at 3. You can't put it at 1.5, and you can't put it at 3.5.
It's bad. He's so bad.
2.5 overs minus 135 here today. My God.
So my most exposed pitcher is Zach Greinke. Just kidding. I actually don't have any. I don't have any Greinke. I'm too busy getting Waino, you know?
You have Zach Greinke and Wainwright as two of your top 3 highest owned pitchers. Yeah, I'm just pairing Greinke.
I accidentally loaded up my lineups from 2009.
That would have been solid at their price points, yeah. Not today.
Yeah, but pricing errors on them when they were 28 years old, not 48 years old.
I actually think Wainwright gets some looking strikes at least, like some called strikeouts.
Yeah, because they can't believe how bad the pitch looked coming in. They're just like,
absolutely, yeah.
He threw me a 74-mile-an-hour fastball.
He freezes them, but with a 75-mile-per-hour four seam. He's not dropping in a breaking ball over into the middle of. No, he's freezing them. They just in awe. But no, Greinke's not particularly good anymore.
No.
It's funny though. He hasn't been nearly as bad as Wainwright.
Nope.
Oviedo against Kansas City. I mean, do you have some interest here though? He's not a special arm by any stretch, but it is Kansas City bats. Kansas City does suppress home runs for sure. He's getting about 5.6%. He's a low 7K price point. What do you think of Oviedo?
He's properly owned at 6%. You want to go 5 to 10% on Oviedo. I think it's fine. He's certainly showing different strikeout stuff in the majors than he really had in the past, and I think that's a little appealing. It's a great strikeout matchup against Kansas City, but 23% K rate to lefties for Oviedo, 17.5 against righties. He actually has a really nice strikeout prop. It's 4.5, but pretty heavy juice to the over. So that works at 7,300 in a matchup against Kansas City. Does have a lot of problems with lefty power. That shouldn't be much of an issue. One against Kansas City. Melendez obviously has it. Massey has it. But you're in a park that really limits it. So I get the idea of going to Oviedo as a value option. I think he's properly owned.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a perfectly reasonable play at that price point.
Yeah.
But then when you talk about Pittsburgh and Kansas City bats, Pittsburgh, this always happens with Pittsburgh. They're going to get some ownership because the value, they just grade out so well from a value perspective. Yeah. Number 1 in top value today for us, 11.2% top value score. That's number 1 of all 24 teams on the slate. They do have a 4.7% top stack probability, though, in the top stack tool. That's not that bad. That's like 6th or so. Yeah, I think that's 6th among everyone on the slate. I'm not surprised they're getting 8% aggregate ownership.
No, it's basically what I have. I have 9%. They're the number 1 value on the slate. I'm a little bit lower on their top stack odds. A lot of that has to do with just the park. It limits the power potential of a team, and that's really important for like winning a GPP. But $5K Brian Reynolds is the most expensive guy in the Pirates lineup right now. $4,300 Cabrian Hayes is second. Other than the fact that they're inundated with outfielders, this team is just ultra easy to get to. And in case you missed it, when we first started talking about them, they face Zach Greinke, who has given up a 230 x ISO and 383 x WOBA to lefties with a 12% strikeout rate this year. That is about as bad as numbers can be. 180 x ISO and 19% K rate to righties. They're primed and ready to beat up on Zach Greinke.
Sean with a super chat. Thanks, brother. I blocked this hour on my work calendar with a meeting so I could listen to you guys in peace. Always thankful for the analysis, guys. Thanks for the super chat, man. Thanks for the support. Goes a long way. We appreciate all you guys for that.
Love it.
Yeah, man. Anything else on this game? Any other bats you want to talk about, Kansas City or anything?
No, I don't really think Kansas City should pull much ownership, and they're not. So they stink usually. I mean, like, you want to get to Bobby Witt or Salvador Perez. Those guys are actually good and have power. MJ Melendez has power. Facing Oviedo is, there's a little bit of potential there, but you shouldn't have a lot of Kansas City.
All right, let's keep it rolling then. We've got game 9, I think. Yeah, Atlanta and Colorado. Okay. 12-run total in this game. Lots of that going to Atlanta, though. I can assure you of that. They're minus 245 on the money line. They have an implied total close to 8. Going up against the left-handed Austin Gomber at Coors Field. I mean, I'm not really sure what there is to say outside of this, Josh, and I'm sure you can add some context to this. Atlanta has a 25.6. If you're just joining now or you jumped in late, 25.6% top stack probability. Looking at our top stack tool, right? It gives you the likelihood that they're going to be the top stack. It gives you the top value probability. It gives you the ownership, leverage, stack score, all that stuff, right? Implied total, everything's in there. This on a 12-game slate is maybe the highest I've seen on a 12-game slate all year. Yeah. No one else is north of 7%. Nope. You have San Diego at 7.6, Baltimore at 6, Houston at 5.8, Atlanta at almost 26. They're not going to be wildly cheap, Josh. Like, they're not going to be the most affordable stack in the world. Nope. But this just is crazy for having 24 teams on the slate.
This is why I have Wainwright. This is why I have Kyle Muller and Tyler McGill and all that other bullshit at the bottom of the pitching slate. Ronald Acuna is 7K today.
Yep. Yeah, 7K. I'm not shocked. He probably should be.
He's 23% owned, and I have what his true ownership should be at 20. That's insane.
At 7K for a hitter.
At 7K. I don't even think he's a negative leverage play at 7K and as probably like the highest owned hitter.
He's more expensive than 10 pitchers, starting pitchers for today.
Yep. Yes, he is. He's the fourth highest owned player on the slate.
But I understand it.
Yeah, it's totally. I have 46 Brave stacks. They have 15% aggregate ownership. I have 25. I don't know what else to do here. They're exceptional from top to bottom. I have at least 10% of everybody. I have 30% of Acuna, and I have 30% of Kevin Pillar, which is disgusting. They're just projected to hit. So they're going to have so many plate appearances. I don't really have anything else that I could add here. Atlanta is so far removed from the rest of this slate that it changes the entire scope of everything. You have two hitters at 6,900 and 7K, and they're awesome options. If Matt Olson's 7% owned today because he's 6,900, I'm going to have more than that. This is going to be my most exposed team today. It's not even going to be close. I don't know what else to do. Like, we don't project games like this all that often.
No, not often at all. And it's funny too, because if you look at Austin Gomber, he actually has displayed some reverse splits this season.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to be thrown out the window, though. Well, I say that. I know you kind of shrug at that, only because he has a 268 expected ISO against lefties, which is egregiously bad. 415 x WOBA, but 188 x ISO against righties, 343 x WOBA. These are still not good numbers. Plus, you put him at home, you put him against righties at home, and it's not like he's been stellar. 1.5 home runs per 9, 15% strikeout rate, xFIP north of 5. These are still pretty rough numbers, even despite the reverse splits.
Yeah, it's everything just is coming up Braves. Talking about the Braves is to me, useless. They're the best team in the best situation against one of the worst possible starters in the best possible park. Like, you do whatever you want to do, listener. If you look at that and you're like, well, I can't play the Braves today because everybody's playing the Braves. That's fine. That's probably not the right decision.
Do you have interest in the Rockies bats?
I do, actually. They're 5% owned. That is 8th. They're 10th in top stack, 7th in top value. I'm higher on both of those metrics. No one for the Rockies is more expensive than $4,800 Ryan McMahon. Bryce Elder is going for Atlanta today. He doesn't get bombed, but 160 x ISO and not a big strikeout rate to lefties. There's a little bit of fear. Like, he doesn't get bludgeoned, but it's not like he's striking a bunch of guys out. This park is at least certainly going to bump up runs a little bit. Run total for Colorado looks good. I've got 13 Rockies stacks. I've got 8% ownership of the Rockies, so about 50% over the field. I like the Colorado side, but it's impossible to like it more than the Braves side.
Just real quick, I was responding to our friend Jordan Klein, so forgive me. He is awake now.
Good. I didn't think he was ever waking up.
Yeah. How much Rockies did you say you're getting to right now?
A little over 8%.
Okay. Sounds good to me, man. Any other spots in this game, or should we go Oakland, Seattle?
Oakland, Seattle.
All right, let's do it.
I should go without saying, please don't play Austin Gomber.
Yeah, I don't think we need to provide much insight into that one. Guys, by the way, we still have a full month of baseball left. So as I mentioned before with the Sims tool, the 50K win from Tom this week, the 5K, the other 5K from Jake Hari, the 1K or 2K from Sean Geezy, who's just absolutely annihilated with the Sims tool. All that in the description if you wanted to check it out. You could do weekly. I think monthly makes more sense, but you can do weekly as well. You still have over a month of baseball left. The season's not over till October 1st, I think, is the last regular season slate, 15 games. And then you go into the postseason, which you'll still have contests for that. But regular season, these main slates, still over a month to go. Yeah. Why not? And the lineup generator, it may not have all the bells and whistles as a lineup simulator, but it's also far, far cheaper. $4.48 for the first week. You can still set all of your stack types, right? You still can lock players and swap players out. You can see the optimal percentage for everybody. You can see the exposures for that's the coolest part. Once you save all your lineups, you can see your stack exposure. You can see all of that. You can see how chalky and contrarian every lineup is. If you wanted to save a lineup, you click save. You don't like this one, you discard it. Save them all. It takes you to the next page. You see all your exposures, all of your lineups. You can export them straight to CSV. All season long, I've been stoked. Just very happy to see all of the wins with people using the lineup generator going, hey, I tried it because it was $4.48. I might not be a huge bankroll player. I might not be playing with a ton. I might not have a ton of time in the day. May only be playing 5 lineups, 20 lineups in the quarter arcade, in the dollar, in the mini max. But I wanted something to help me create better lineups than what I'm making now. Well, that's why we have the lineup generator, because it's going to make better lineups than you're making now. And it's going to make life way easier, particularly when you can just upload them straight to CSV, and it's mobile. It's optimized for mobile. It is the best tool hands down that we have for the price at $4.48. Or as Josh always points out, we give you a variety of options here. You want all of our MLB tools, like the top stacks tool. We just had a guy that hit us up yesterday, 5K using the top stacks tool. You want to get that, top pitchers, ownership, player projections, and the lineup generator. MLB for the week is half off, less than $10 for the week. That's for all of our tools, including the lineup generator, including the premium Discord. So the Sims tool, half off MLB package, or half off the a la carte MLB lineup generator. All those links in the description. And if you guys ever have any questions, hit me up on Twitter. If you're looking for the best direction to take, I know it can be overwhelming. My DMs are always open. All right. Let's talk about this next game. Kyle Muller, Brian Wu, 7.5 run total, low total. Oakland plus 210 though. So that gives you an idea where we're going with this as far as implied run total goes, Josh. Oakland has a low total today. No surprise whatsoever. Brian Wu, 26% owned, 3.5 run implied total for Oakland.
Woo looks good. Woo got that woo. 7,900, 26% owned. Is he over-owned? Sure. He is over-owned. 14% odds of being a top 2 pitcher, 12% odds of being a top 2 value. He's a little bit over-owned. But in this midsection, because of the park, which greatly limits runs, 86 park factor to runs, because of their opponent, even though the A's have been mashing sort of as of late, still one of the worst offenses, the worst run total on the slate. It's pretty difficult to not want to at least get a little bit of Bryan Woo. I have 28% as of right now. I'm happy to get there. I think he's one of the more cost-effective pitchers you can get to today. Has he had some trouble with lefty power? He has, but this park does limit lefty power a little bit. It's going to be a good spot for Ryan Noda, for Seth Brown, that's about it for lefty power. So those guys might look okay. Righties, however, 501 pitches from Woo so far this season, 31.5% K rate and a .051 X ISO. Righties just aren't touching him at all. So if anybody's going to get there for Oakland, it's the lefties. And when that's the case, when I see the lefties that Oakland has, seems like we should be getting to Woo at 7,900. But I'm not done talking about pitching. In case I didn't get the message across earlier, I am playing a whole bunch of shitty dudes today so that I could roster the Atlanta Braves. And another shitty guy that I am playing is Kyle Muller. He is 1% owned at 5,300. He has given up a 248 X ISO to righties so far this season, and he is likely facing 8 righties for Seattle. That said, I have 15% as of right now. I hope that goes down. Add him to the list of shitty dudes, but if you're trying to roster the Braves, you might need to save some salary. So add Kyle Muller to Adam Wainwright, add him to Tyler McGill, to Michael Kopech, to Tyon, on all these sub 7K type dudes. He's another one on my list right now, but not because he's any good.
Do you have any bats in this game?
Not really. I certainly don't have Oakland. That should not be surprised. I literally don't have a share of an Oakland A bat. For the Mariners, they're 8th in top stack. I have them 17th, so I'm seeing them quite different. 4.6 run implied total is pretty pedestrian for this park. You've got 6K Julio Rodriguez, 9% owned. These guys are 6th. They're 5.5% owned. I basically don't have them. I don't think it's crazy to want to go to Seattle. I just don't like getting Seattle in this park. But against Kyle Muller, it's certainly a nice spot.
It is. The reason I just asked you kind of as a throwaway question was because I really want to talk about Kyle Harrison in this next game.
Let's do it.
This is somebody that in his first start got into some trouble. No surprise. You're going up against the Phillies team right now that is just mowing teams down, right? And also has a lot of pop and talent scattered throughout that lineup. He got thrown into the fire. No question there. But if you're unfamiliar at all with Kyle Harrison, who was 6,500 today, in a fantastic pitcher's park against the Cincinnati Reds. He is somebody, forget about that first start that he made at the major league level. He had the highest K rate, I think, of all minor league pitchers at the time of coming up. I know it was the highest K per 9, so maybe it wasn't, but it was 35.6% K rate this season, Josh, at AAA in 65 and 2/3 innings. This dude has legitimate strikeout stuff. Does that mean that it's immediately going to translate into being able to limit runs? No, but he did strike out 31% of batters he faced in that first start against Philly. We know it's there. We know that the strikeout stuff will translate. Now it's just a matter of, can you keep the ball in the park? Can you keep guys off the bases? And can you do enough with those strikeouts to get you there? $6,500 Kyle Harrison. I really wasn't surprised at all to see him as the highest owned, value pitcher, sub 7K today.
Yeah, 19% owned. We have him 7% top 2 pitcher, 13% top 2 value. So probably a little over owned. But it's possible that we are projecting him incorrectly, because I know that I am, or at least it seems like I am. His strikeout prop is 5.5. And it's probably, if anything, a little juice to the over. I have him projected for 4.1 Ks. I'm way low. Yeah, and I'm not getting to him right now.
Good strikeout stuff, man.
Yeah, so he's a guy that I'm going to dig into a little bit throughout the day, find out why I'm showing up so much lower than the current strikeout prop, because he's the biggest guy that I'm missing on so far. I do think it should look like a better strikeout matchup. If I had him projected for another strikeout and a half, like a 20% owned Kyle Harrison would make perfect sense. I think he's properly owned.
I do too. And now look, here's the thing. It's still a rookie making his second ever start.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati, 24% strikeout rate on the season with their active roster versus lefties. Fantastic ballpark. And he's $6,500. So yeah, he's more expensive than the Wainwrights and the Greinke's, but the difference there is that those guys have no strikeout upside at all whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying not to play because that extra, 1,000 or whatever is going to come into play. I think in the event that you were to bump that strikeout rate up closer to what his prop looks like, do you think you get less Adam Wainwright and more of Harrison?
Yeah, a little bit. Here's the problem here. His last 4 starts in the minors, starting with July 31st, 2 innings, 6 batters, 2 innings, 10 batters, 3 innings, 12 batters, 4 innings, 18 batters. The one start that he made in the majors, he went 3 1/3. He threw 65 pitches. I don't think he's primed to go deep in this game. I think 5 innings might sort of be the max that he can have. I don't know if they're stretching him out and just letting him rip. So that might be the thing that I have to give like a little bit of pause to. I'm not sure that he is just going out there and throwing 100 pitches today if he can.
Fair enough. Yeah, it could be the case. I don't know. 5.5 prop. You said it's juiced slightly to the over. Not that it really matters at this point. I mean, he's projecting around 5.5. Cincinnati.
I want to see what his outs prop is later today if it comes out. I want to see how long. I'm guessing he doesn't get one. But if it does, I think that will paint a really nice picture of how you can feel about Kyle Harrison.
Yeah, true. Give you a decent idea of how long he can pitch or how long they think he can pitch into a game. All right. Hey, do you want to do anything else with this one? Because on the other side, you have Andrew Abbott against San Francisco in a good part.
I don't really have much Abbott at 9,800. I do think he's at least a little bit interesting based on his stuff, but I do think he's appropriately owned at 5%. We have him 13% top 2 pitcher. I have it at 9. So even if you just want to call it 10, should he be owned a little bit more than 5%? Yeah, maybe. And the park is great for it. So if you like the idea of going to Andrew Abbott, I wouldn't talk anybody out of it. The only piece that is a little scary, 138 x ISO to lefties for Abbott this year and a 36% K rate. Those are fantastic numbers. 191 x ISO to righties, strikeout rate 10% lower than his strikeout rate against lefties. He is looking like he's going to see 9 righties against the Giants. So not the same spot that it normally would be for Andrew Abbott, but he does look fine today because of the park.
Any interest in bats, Cincinnati against Harrison at all?
I don't have any, really. They're 12th in top stack. They're 18th in ownership. They're like a 2% team. If you want McLean or De La Cruz, okay, I guess. Encarnacion Strand, okay, I guess. I don't really like getting bats in this park. I don't have much of the Giants side either. But if I'm going to either side, I am going to go to San Francisco and hope the righty bats attack Abbott.
Let's wrap this one up. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Hit that thumbs up too. I probably a long shot. We need 18 likes to get to 100. So if you're one of those people yet to atone for your sins here on a Monday morning, it would be greatly appreciated. Takes a second. Simple reminder that every like goes a long way here in helping us feed the algorithm. So if you like this free content and you want to help support us, it's the simplest and freest way to do so. Arizona and the Dodgers, Zach Gallen, Bobby Miller, 8.5 run total here. All right, so as it stands, Zach Gallen, 1% ownership. I'm very interested to see where you come in on this because we have him very positively leveraged. The only problem is that if you kind of have to put these in context. Like, he's a good pitcher, so surely he's going to have a higher top 2 pitcher probability. But it doesn't mean that just because he's positively leveraged that it makes him a great play, because at 10.5, you've got Blake Snell at 10.8. You have Gossman at 11.2. So is it worthwhile to be paying that type of salary for Zach Gallen against the Dodgers today just because he's positively leveraged or getting over the field on him, I should say.
Nope. No, It is not. I mean,
yeah, again, that's what I figured.
Is he underowned? Yeah. Is it really actionable? No. Like if you want to have 10% of Zach Gallen today against the Dodgers, I don't think that's crazy. There's going to be days where he's just decent and unowned, but it should not be a priority build for you to get to Zach Gallen. It's not a problem, but I don't really think that it's something that I'm excited to do. Like he's good. He's going to strike out like 26% of guys. He doesn't get absolutely annihilated, although righties do hit him a little bit harder. The power potential in this park is interesting from the Dodgers side, but I don't want Gallen and I don't really want Bobby Miller. At least Bobby Miller is 8,800. We have Bobby Miller and Zach Gallen basically equals as top two pitchers go. And Bobby Miller is 4% owned. So if you want to get to one of them, it's probably Miller. This just doesn't feel like a game where you want pitching.
Really doesn't. Plus, you're not getting a lot of strikeout upside from Miller in this specific matchup at all. He doesn't allow a lot of power, though. 0.77 home runs per nine. He's done a good job of limiting power this season. Yeah. Has a 4x FIP, 3.54 FIP. Guy's been pretty good. 22% K rate. All that to say, do you like any bats from either side of this game? We can wrap this up too with who our favorite bats are from this slate. Obviously, I know Atlanta is going to be up top, but it'll be interesting to see what your highest exposed pitchers and stacks outside of Atlanta look like.
We have the Dodgers dead last in ownership. Obviously, you can roster Betts, Freeman, Smith, Muncy till the cows come home. These guys are just good. That said, I don't have them. I don't really have the Diamondbacks either. This is a game where it's like the least hard. Like I don't want anything here. Late night hammer wise, I want to stay as far away as possible from this game.
Top 4 exposed pitchers right now. This is going to be fun. Obviously, Gossman's up there. Woo's up there, right? Grayson Rodriguez. Is Wainwright number 4?
No, he's not even close.
Am I right about your top 3?
Grayson Rodriguez, Brian Wu are the top 2, and those are they're twice as much as anybody else. So I'm matching the ownership there. My next 2 most exposed guys are Kyle Muller and Kevin Gossman.
Kyle Muller and Kevin Gossman.
And then it's Gray, McGill, Kopech, Wainwright, Tyon. I've got like 10 to 15% of every single garbage dump at the bottom.
Now, let's wrap it up with this. And we just hit 100 likes. Thank you, guys. Also, remember, Caesars 50 in the 250 won't be here long. It's one of the best, probably the best sportsbook promo out there. You don't even have to like sports betting if you like money for free. It's down there. Same with all of our tools. Link to everything in the description before you go if you jumped in late and you're looking to get in on that and take advantage of great promos or free money from Caesars.
There are 2 great promos right now. If you have the money, BetMGM's bonus bets back up to 1,000. Like if you have 1,000 to put down, then 1,000 at BetMGM is what you should do.
Yep.
But the Caesars play is so much better for the large majority of people because you only need $50 and you're getting $250. Then you can get more free money from the BetMGM side, but I think most people are going to have a much better experience betting 50 to get 250.
Yeah, if you had $50, BetMGM is not better because it's you're getting the first bet insurance of 50. If you have 1,000, of course it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they raised the limits there, but not everybody has 1,000.
Right, exactly. That's why this one is so important. I think we're going to hit a lot more people. This is going to help a lot more people
for sure. You're talking about $50, and then you're 5xing that. So
right.
Yeah.
But
let's just clarify something for a second.
Okay.
Atlanta, there's still a 75%, 3 out of 4 times. Atlanta is not the top stack on this slate. Now,
correct.
Understandably, 25.6% top stack probability is outrageous for a 12-game slate. I've said it 8 times. I'll say it again. But still, 3 out of 4 times, according to the top stack tool, Atlanta is not the top stack. They're also very expensive.
They are.
So knowing that, who would some of the stacks be that you want to get to if you're not getting to Atlanta? I mean, I love Baltimore today at 6% top stack, 5% aggregate ownership, only because Kopech could go out there. We've seen him give up 3-4 home runs in a game.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't hate the Orioles shout. I mean, like everybody else just looks so similar. I kind of like Houston a little bit at no ownership. The teams that I have the most of, other than Atlanta, are the Pirates, the Rockies, and the Red Sox. But I don't really have like a giant stand over anybody. The teams that I guess that's what I can do. The teams that I have the most right now are the Pirates, Rockies, and Red Sox, as long as we're ignoring Atlanta. I have 3 times as much Atlanta as everybody else.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, Kopech is a lot. All right, how about this? Who do you think have allowed well, this will be fun. And chat, feel free to play along on this one. Most home runs allowed by pitchers this year. Now, we don't have to worry about qualifying anything because it's just most home runs. Give me the top 5. This could be tough.
Kopech has to be on there, right?
He's actually 6th with 28. Number 1 should be easy.
Are you serious? He's 6th?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Number 1, I think should be easy for you.
Jordan Lyles?
He's 2nd.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Probably all of them have come against left-handed hitters. No, that's obviously hyperbole, but you know what I mean.
Lance Lynn?
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
34 home runs this season.
Okay.
This is a tough question. I mean,
any other old White Sox pitchers?
No, there's Kopech at 6th. Lance Lynn. No.
Am I missing anybody obvious?
Probably. Like 4 is Aaron Nola. You wouldn't have guessed that, even though he has allowed 29 home runs. 3 is JP Sears.
Not happening.
5 is Trevor Williams.
Wouldn't have got that.
No, that's tough. It's a tough question. But 3 pitchers have allowed 30 plus. Lynn, Lyles, Sears. Kopech at 28. Kopech has a game with 5 home runs allowed this year.
I probably played him.
It's possible. Anyway, thanks you guys for hanging out as always. Remember, you can listen to this in podcasts. If you're listening at the effect, hit us up in the comments. Say hi. Let us know your thoughts on the slate. Follow Josh at Josh Engleman. Me at Laffy_D on Twitter. LOUGHY_D. And we'll see you back here tomorrow on the MLB Strategy Show. Have a good one, guys. Peace.